Unleashing the Alpha Networker, episode 59.
Join Jason Lee as he brings you Unleashing the Alpha Networker. Top interviews, networking and marketing techniques, and a lot more. All designed to help you conquer your home business challenges.
On today's show, we have SEO expert and coach James Upjohn. I have the great pleasure of introducing this man who's just a phenom in the SEO world, and I'm sure you guys will get a lot of value out of today's show. And so, James Upjohn, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's really great to be here, Jason. Thanks very much for having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to be here, buddy. So if you could, for the listeners, just break down a little bit about your history and kind of how you got into the SEO world, and where you're from and that sort of thing.
Well, it's really interesting, actually. There's a bit of a long story behind this, but I'll try and keep it short. I was working as a business development manager for a mortgage company, and I hadn't left school very long, so it's going back quite a few years, maybe 13 years ago. I reached out to the online community as a business development manager, trying to find people to give our company mortgage leads. Stumbled across a few forums and hooked up with a young guy. He was 18 years old and said that he was building websites. And I signed him up. He started giving us leads, and I forgot about him until the boss said, "Hey, we've got to head over to Swansea today." And I was like, "Oh, why are we going there?" He said, "That guy you signed up, I've got a check here for him. It's £40,000. And I was like, "What?" The kid's 18. What do you mean you've got 40,000 for him? It was like 6 weeks later.
Right.
And my boss said, "I need to drive over and find out this guy. He's our biggest introducer, and he's got another £60,000 worth of commission in processing. That's probably going to clear in the next 4 or 5 weeks." And I'm just like, wow. So I went over and met this kid, and he was in his mum's bedroom, like back bedroom of his mum's house.
Yeah.
Just working away. And he made himself 40 grand in 6 weeks. So I was like, dude, you need to teach me everything. So yeah, he introduced me to online marketing all the way back then.
Wow.
What's interesting actually is that between me, I was working at the mortgage place in the winter. And every summer I was going abroad to Greece. I was working as like a party rep. So he was doing that. He taught it to me. I thought, yeah, this is great. But the following summer I went back to Greece, and I did that a couple more years. Then he reached out to my boss with a invitation for a wedding for me. He was going to marry his girlfriend. And on the invitation, there was a picture of him stood there in front of what looked like a small castle. And I had lost touch with him because I was backwards and forwards to Greece. So I get in contact with him, and I'm like, "Dude, is that where you're getting married? That's amazing." He's like, "No, I just bought it." I was like, "What?" And basically, this is back in the day. He was ranked on the first page of Google for things like diet pills, fat-burning pills. And he was drop shipping those and making fortunes. He's like made his first million by the time he was 20. And I was just like, right. I realized at that point, after a couple of years of messing around, actually, I should have taken this a little bit more serious. So that's when I got into it full time. And yeah, I really learned the ropes. I went through the different Google updates that happened. Sometimes I got frustrated. Other times, not so much. I used to sell a lot of services on the Wicked Fire and the Warrior Forum back in the day.
Right.
And there was a guy, actually, in 2012 that was making about $6,000 a month. And he used to buy services off me, plug bookmarks. And his website got wiped out in the 2012 update. And he reached out to me and he was like, "My site's gone. I'm absolutely heartbroken. I'm going to have to get a job." And I weren't coaching anyone or doing anything like that back then. I was literally just the service provider. So I was like, "Dude, I feel bad for you. You've paid me some cash in the past. Let's see if we can recover your website." And I introduced him to a few of the SEO tools I was using. And I said, look, I don't want to make any more money out of you. This is what I was using to build some of your links. And I started showing him the ropes. Now, he spoke to Alex Krulik, the owner of Magic Submitter, because one of the tools I introduced him to was Magic Submitter. As a result of that, I struck up a conversation with Alex at Magic Submitter, and we ended up partnering. I became the official coach. We went on to create a couple of other products together. And that just all came about originally. I never intended to be a coach. I just reached out to a guy that I saw was genuinely struggling. His website had gone. I felt a little bit responsible. He had only ever bought a couple of services off me. I don't think it was my fault. But the fact that he reached out to me, I felt somewhat responsible. I helped him, and that's turned into what it is today. You know, it's amazing how that journey happened.
Yeah, so that's an amazing story, and I'm assuming the web developer that you spoke about who bought the Castler or whatever, that the same guy's Alex, right?
That's right, Alex Krulik.
Okay. Yeah, what a bright guy. I mean, learning all that stuff and knowing all that stuff by the time he was 18, that's pretty impressive.
Oh, no, sorry, that's somebody else. That's not Alex Krulik. Alex Krulik's the owner of Magic Submitter.
Okay, so two different people.
Yeah, Frank was a guy from Swansea. Okay. He introduced me to SEO.
Gotcha.
I learned it. I started being a service provider. I was offering my services on the Warrior Forum and the Wicked Fire Forum.
Right.
And then I met another guy who had just had his site wiped out. And then I coached him to recover that site. One of the things I told him I was doing was using a tool called Magic Submitter. So this guy I coached got in contact with the owner of Magic Submitter and said, hey, there's this guy called James who's like amazing for your brand. He's really helped me, shown me the software. I didn't know any of this happened.
Yeah.
And then Alex Krulik got in contact with me and was like, are you showing people how to use my software? I was like, yeah. And he asked me, what do you think of it? I said, I love your software, but the training videos stink. And I told Alex my story with Magic. I picked the software up, went in to watch his training videos, didn't get it, so I quit using the software. And then I decided, well, I bought another software, then I've tried another, then I've tried another. They all basically do the same thing. So I went back to Magic and I just said, I'm not relying on anybody here. I'm just going to learn everything there is to know about it inside and out. And I did that. So I told Alex my story about that. And he was like, so you understand everything about the software? I'm like, pretty much. And he said, what can I do to improve it? I said, you need somebody else to do your training videos. He's like, you sound like the guy. Do you want to do it? So I talked myself into a job unexpectedly.
Oh, that's fun.
And then he made me the official coach. Then I started doing the training webinars. So yeah, it just went from there. But it all came from a decision from me to say, I'm not going to keep jumping from one tool to the next to the next. I'm going to go back and I'm going to learn something from start to finish. It put me in a great position to then be able to tell him exactly what was wrong and what he could do to fix it.
Yeah, that's powerful. We talk a lot in our industry about becoming an expert at something and how becoming an expert at a skill or a tool or whatever it might be is the difference between making money and not making money. And it sounds like you kind of experienced that firsthand with that.
Yeah, and for me, it wasn't a deliberate thing. I didn't set out to do that, but I now understand the importance of deliberately setting out to learn everything there is to learn about everything related to what I'm trying to achieve.
Right.
It's so easy. I call us the magpies of the internet marketing world and or of the online world. And a magpie is a bird that gets attracted to shiny objects. If you was to leave a silver coin out in your garden, it'd swoop down and it'd take it away before you knew what was happening. And that's exactly what we're like at online marketing. I know firsthand because I am one. For all of the reasons that make me attracted to internet marketing, the better life, the working for myself, the hopes, the dreams, the aspirations. Well, with that comes this kind of, I'm trying to think of the right word to use here, lack of concentration almost. We're attracted to the next big thing and the next big thing. But jumping from one thing to the next to the next to the next you never get to truly master anything. And that's exactly where I was at. Buy a product, buy another product, buy another product, then another. And actually, one day I just decided enough's enough. I'm going to just stick with one thing, master it as best as I can. And this was my thought process. If I master it and know absolutely everything there is to know about it, and then I realize it's not for me, at least I'm making an informed decision.
Yeah.
So that's what happened, and it was hugely powerful for me. Now, whenever I buy something new, it's so easy to buy it with the best intentions, and 2 days later just shelve it because you've moved on to something else. But I've made that decision now that I'm not doing that anymore. I buy something, master it, and then realize whether it's right for me or not before even considering something new.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So I'd like to get into SEO a little bit and actually see if we can talk about, some SEO tips and maybe some more, going from beginner to advanced, because there's people in all ranges of the spectrum here listening. For bloggers, I guess, that are just getting started with SEO, like they have a blog, they have content on that blog, the design is good, the content's good, they've done their keyword research, their on-page SEO is solid. What would you recommend for them when getting started with respect to getting their content ranked?
Okay. Would you mind if I just went back one step just to talk about on-page SEO?
No, not at all.
Okay, because we can assume that on-page SEO is good, but this is the way that I do on-page SEO, and not just on-page SEO. It's the way I approach SEO as a whole, okay? The way that I look at it is by painting a picture and using an analogy, I consider SEO to be nothing more than a game of poker. And hopefully you're familiar with that, Jason, the Texas Hold'em, let's say.
Yeah.
Okay. Imagine, think about it like this. We're in a heads-up game of poker with Google's web spam team. We're trying to play our best hand possible to rank number one, and the web spam team play their hand to try and level the playing field and stop anyone in particular ranking. Okay? Are you following the analogy so far?
Yes.
Okay, so imagine if me and you were in a game of heads-up poker right now. And let's just suppose I said to you, I need to go and use the restroom, so I left my cards face up on the table for you to look at. Would it be fair to say that you'd be silly not to look at my cards?
Yeah, sure.
If I'm leaving them face up for you to look at, I'm giving you a huge advantage in this game. Because if you know what hand I'm playing, it's going to help you play your hand so much better. Agreed?
Yes.
So here's the deal. Google's at a huge disadvantage in this game of heads-up poker because they're forced to show us their top 10 cards every single time we do a search. Okay? There's on-page algorithm updates, there's off-page algorithm updates, there's social media updates, there's a million different updates that could potentially happen at any given time. But if I went to bed tonight and Google updated every single one of its algorithms, all I need to do to find out what their current ranking algorithm is go to the first page of Google, put in my keyword, and Google's forced to show me exactly what it wants to rank as its top 10 cards. It can't hide. It can't say we don't want to show you today because the business model falls apart. So the way that I approach SEO always is rather than looking at my website and trying to determine what's right, what's not right, I spend 99% of my time analyzing those top 10 results because they're Google's best cards. How many of the top 10 have got the keyword in the title tag? I used to argue with people on the Warrior Forum a few years ago, and I realize it's hugely unproductive. Okay? There's better ways I could spend my time than arguing with people online. I've realized the error of my ways, and now I prefer to try and make money than argue with people. That's the old me. But here's a perfect example. Somebody posted in the Warrior Forum to say, don't use your keyword in the title tag anymore. If you do, you're going to get penalized by Google. And I was just like, do you do SEO? go to Google, put in your keyword. If 9 out of the top 10 have got the keyword in the title tag, then I think it's fair to say that having the keyword in the title is a good idea.
Yes.
Okay? So I use Google as my final source of authority on absolutely anything and everything. And I argued this point with a group once. Not argued, that's the wrong word. I demonstrated this. I said to people, and I'm going to say to you now, Jason, as well as everybody else that listens, what I'm going to say next is nonsense. I'm making it up. Please believe that. But here's what I did. And I told these people beforehand that I was going to make this up. I showed them firsthand. I said, hey, this is a little known secret, but Google gives weight to websites that are yellow. If you've got a yellow background, you rank higher. And people was like, serious? I was like, Google is a search engine that cares about its end users, and it cares about happiness, the happiness of them. What color is the color of happiness? And everyone goes yellow. I was like, there you go. If you've got a yellow website, you're going to rank high. And they was like, oh, I'm not convinced. I said, let me show you. So I pulled up yellowpages.com. I said, it's no fluke that they rank everywhere. I showed them yell.com and said, hey, look, they've got yellow on their website. I showed them the middle O in Google's logo, which is bright yellow. And everyone was like, oh, I'm going to go and change my website. What a great idea. And I was like, why are you going to do that? I just told you that it was nonsense. Okay? I told you beforehand it was nonsense. Why are you... But now here's the deal. If you don't use Google as your final source of authority, then like my argument to that would be straight away, hang on a second, what about Facebook? They're not yellow, they're blue. And they rank everywhere. So I would just look at what's ranking in Google and I'd be like, hang on, within my niche, 9 out of the top 10 are green. Where's yellow come into this? Does that make sense what I'm saying, Jason?
Yeah. You become susceptible to the influence of people who don't necessarily know what they're talking about if you don't validate and verify that, the results are there
exactly
for the reasons they're supposed to be there.
Now, I'm not discrediting coaches. I'm not discrediting SEO courses. I 100% believe in those things. Okay? It's almost impossible to have one person solely on their own trying to figure out every Google change and everything there is to know about everything. So I'm a big believer in having crowdsourced, if you can be a part of a membership site or get a coach, great. Okay? But if your coach says to you, hey, you shouldn't do this or you should do that, it's easy for you to just check Google and see whether that's consistent. And then if it's not consistent, then you don't do it.
Right.
If it is consistent, great. And that's the way that I've always approached SEO.
Right.
Like when I say always, literally at least since I've been coaching, and here's what I do. This is something that everyone on this call could do that's actionable. You could get an Excel spreadsheet, and in the column along the top of the Excel spreadsheet, you can write title, H1, meta keywords, meta description, H1 tag, number of words on page, keyword density. Okay? And then all you do is you go to the first website and you look at it in the Google search result. Does it have the keyword in the title? Yes or no? And you just write it down in the spreadsheet. Does it have it in the H1 tag? Yes or no? Does it have it? Is it used in the meta keywords? If it is, yes. If not, no, obviously. The meta description. And you literally just go through all of those different headings, number of words on the page. There's a website that you can use, which is called wordcounter.net. All you do is you go to the website, highlight all of the text on the page, and paste it into Word Counter. It'll say 560 words. Then if you're using a browser like Firefox, Chrome, you can do a Control F or a Command F. Basically, it'll bring up a find box directly in the browser. Stick your keyword in there. And it might say it appears twice. Okay, so there's 500 words on the page. The main keyword appears twice. That gives me a keyword density of X. You go through and you do that for the whole of the top 10. And what you'll notice is patterns will form that you've never even seen before. Oh, I thought I shouldn't use the meta keywords tag, but 10 out of the top 10 are using it. Okay, now, if 10 out of the top 10 are using it, or 9 out of the top 10 are using it, and you thought you shouldn't use it, hopefully you might think there's two ways you could process something like that. You could think, well, Google's ignoring it, so it doesn't matter that it's there anyway. Or you could think, maybe we're not getting the full picture from Google.
Right.
Maybe they're telling us they're ignoring it, when actually they might not be. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So I approach my on-page SEO in exactly that way. And the great news is you can pretty much approach your off-page SEO in the same way by using tools like Ahrefs or Majestic or Moz and going through your top 10. How many referring domains do they have? What social are they on any social media sites? Are they listed in local business directories? How are they being shared socially? And you can go through, and here's what I do. I use Ahrefs, okay? It's $79 a month, but I highly recommend everybody owns it. It's not my product. But what a tool like that allows you to do is download the backlinks of all your competitors. So I can just go to the first page, download the top 10's links, I stick them in an Excel spreadsheet, and then I highlight duplicate values. How many of the top 10s are sharing links in common? I do that and I go, wow, look, 4 out of the top 10 have got a link from Yale.com. Guess where my first link is going to be built?
Right.
7 out of the top 10 are listed in the Better Business Bureau. If I'm doing it for my own website, I can think, am I going to pay for the Better Business Bureau or not? If I'm doing it for a client, I just make a recommendation. Hey, 7 of your competitors are there. You should be there too.
Right.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yep, sure does.
Now, there's a lot more to it than that. Obviously, it's not just that simple. But if I was just getting started and I was like, okay, I've got this blog and I need to get traffic, how do I do that? That would definitely be my first port of call. Where are my top 10 competitors listed? And, oh, look, they're on blogspot.com. Could I get a link from blogspot.com? Let's go and check. Oh, look, it's a blogging site from Google. Oh, they're on Facebook. Can I get a Facebook? Yeah, I can. Let's go and get a link from Facebook. Does that make sense?
Yep. So yeah, that makes total sense. So next, I'd like to ask you a little bit. So Ahrefs is ahrefs.com, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. ahrefs.com for anybody listening.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And I know there's some temporary tools out there that people can use that are free, but they don't do as detailed of an analytical job for you, like MajesticSEO.com. You can look at backlinks and things like that. And on that, do you have any other recommendations besides that one website, which is more
Open Site Explorer?
Okay.
.org, which is by Moz. But to be fair, ahrefs.com has the biggest database or biggest index. Okay, it's like $79 a month, but you can analyze hundreds of websites, thousands of websites if you want to. Download all their backlinks. And here's what I do. Let's say I've downloaded the top 10.
Yeah.
And I notice that they've got 50 links in common. You've then got two choices. You can either sit there and sign up to these 50 different places yourself, or you could go onto a site like upwork.com, upwork.com. It used to be called Odesk. And you can go and find an outsourcer from the Philippines or India and pay them $1 a link to go and create these sites for you.
Right.
So, 50, if you was to go and look at all of your top competitors' best links and mirror them, you pay somebody $50 or $100 to do that for you, you're going to have some seriously good links pointing at your website without you having to do much work at all.
Right. Now you're getting into link building a little bit, which I definitely want to talk about. But first, I'd like to ask you something else. Guest posting. What are your thoughts on guest posting with respect to SEO?
Well, there's two ways to look at guest posting. Really, if I'm going to take the time to do a guest post, I'm not going to be looking to do it for a ranking benefit, because Google actually says that we should no follow our links on guest blog posts. Okay. The reason that I would be doing it is because of the referral traffic that could come from that blog. Now, if I can get decent referral traffic coming over, that's a great thing, for two reasons. First of all, I've got traffic looking at my website. But second of all, I believe that Google's looking at referral traffic sources as part of their ranking algorithm. So if you're getting lots of traffic coming from lots of different places, your brand signals are going to be huge. You look like a real blog that's in business. And I've tested this strategy myself, where I've sent referral traffic at different properties, and I've seen huge increases in rankings as a result. Not from the links, but just from the traffic that comes from them.
Yeah, that's primarily why I do it. When I do guest posting, I just do it for the traffic. So I just assume most of those sites that I do guest posts on no follow the links. So,
well, here's the deal with it. There's two strategies. I mean, we could start talking about it depends where you're guest posting on.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, ultimately, if you're reaching out to me and saying, "Hey, can I grab a link from your website?" and I'm not no following it, if my site's got decent trust flow and decent domain authority, that will affect your rankings. You will get a great positive boost in rankings. Maybe not just from one. Again, it's going to come down to the trust and the domain authority of the site. But if you do that consistently across the board and that's your only form of link building, Google could probably detect a pattern and say, okay, you've got 100 posts, they're all do follow. Maybe you look like you're creating some kind of network here, or you're buying links.
Right.
So it's about mixing it up.
Right, and that buying links, that goes against their quality guidelines, so that's a big no-no if you get caught.
Yeah, the whole deal is, people do buy them, you can buy them, but ultimately, you have to be a little bit smart if you're going to do that, because here's the deal. I don't know where your stance is on it. My stance is I kind of border grey hat. Okay. Some things I do might be considered to be against Google's quality guidelines, because sometimes we have to do some things to get rankings, especially if our competitors are doing the same thing. I try and steer away from just pure 100% black hat stuff.
Yeah.
I'm smart with it. Will I buy a link or two? Yes. Will I buy 500 paid links and do no other form of link building? Definitely not.
Yeah. I personally don't buy links. I did in the past. I just don't anymore. I go the route of, and we've kind of chatted about this before. Building my own PBN. That's extremely powerful when you have your own PBN. And then I do a lot of social signals. I sell a lot of social signals.
Well, here's the deal. PBNs is buying links. You're just buying them for yourself. Yeah,
and you're building. Well, I build the sites out on the domains, and I guess you could look at it that way if you're. But I'm purchasing the actual domain and building the site on it. There's more work to it than just going to a, like link. What's one of the sites out there? I don't know. Link.
Yeah, Build My Rank or something.
BuildMyRank.com and buying a link, and then so.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've got a network of about 250 sites.
Yeah.
I also invest in a private blog network.
Yeah.
But again, that's something that you've got to be smart with. Hiding your IP addresses, making sure you've got great content. And there's two ways of looking at this. You are guest posting, because that's what it is. It's a guest blog post. But you're doing it on a site that you own rather than a site that somebody else owns.
Right.
But ultimately,
it's
the same thing.
Yep. And when I mentioned guest posting earlier, I was actually serious. I guest post on other sites, not sites from my own PBN. So I do both, but yeah, like you said, if you're going to build a PBN, you better know a few things because you know I know there's a whole bunch of different ways that Google can track things, you know, and if you're not, I mean, I host on all sorts of different servers, you know, all the kind of stuff you have to do, like you were just mentioning, to prevent yourself from enduring the punishment that they can unleash on you if if they don't like what you're doing.
Well, the way that I see it is the strategy that I just gave everybody regarding downloading links from Ahrefs. Okay, when I coach people on SEO, I get them to go through that exercise first, and the reason for that is you might find 10, 20, 30, or 50 links that your competitors have got that just building those could push you to number one, and I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
Now, if I was to just say, okay, go and build a network of 10 PBN sites, putting a monetary cost on that, you know, you're buying just the average run-of-the-mill low-end PBNs, picking them up for between $30 and $50 each, putting content on them, hosting them. Let's say it's costing between $100 and $150 per PBN.
Right.
Multiply that by 10, and the person spent $1,000 to $1,500. When they might have ranked just by downloading 50 of their competitors' links and signing up for free.
Yeah.
So I usually say to people, go and steal what links you can first. You don't even have to do it yourself. If one PBN costs you $150, let's just say, by the time you've hosted it for 6 months, you put content on it, you've paid for the hosting and the domain name itself. Okay, let's just say that. Would that be a fair price to say between $100 and $150?
Yeah, I guess depending on how much you paid for the domain.
Just an average low, like, you know, what used to be an old PR1, PR2 website.
Yeah, I mean, you know, for those domains, you're going to pay anywhere from, I don't know, $20 to $70 probably, I'm guessing.
Exactly. Then you got content on it and hosting, etc. So
yeah.
If I'm going to build one of them and it costs me $100, but I could go and get an outsourcer to build me 50 links for $100, it makes sense to get the 50 links first, in my opinion, because then if I still need PBNs, my anchor text profile and my link profile, those PBNs are going to be somewhat more shielded by the fact I've got a lot of other links going on.
Right.
It's going to help me dilute my anchor text, and also maybe I didn't even need PBNs, 50 or 100 backlinks that I paid $100 for from an outsourcer will be enough. If it's not enough, what I typically then find is I don't need as many PBNs because I've got that link diversity going on now. So instead of me just going out and buying 5 or 10, I might just buy 2 or 3 and achieve the same results.
Right.
But in what I consider to be much more safe.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yep. Yeah, makes sense. So what are your thoughts on directories? Like getting links from directories?
This is interesting. If you're working within the local marketing niches and you start analyzing your competitors, you're going to see the majority of businesses are listed in directories. Now, Google's quality guideline says don't submit to low-quality bookmarking sites or directory sites. But the emphasis there is on the low-quality part of it. Okay? Because think about this. Imagine you knew nothing about SEO.
Yeah.
You've just created your website and you get a phone call from Yellow Pages. Would you like to list yourself in our directory? Would it be and no doubt everybody's had one of those calls from Yelp and Yellow Book and
sure.
a number of others. Would it be fair for Google to start penalizing people for getting listed in there? They're not engaging in SEO. They're just trying to build their business.
Yeah.
So for me, getting yourself listed in those top 20, top 50, or even top 100 directories that get real traffic, great idea. Yeah. Going and listing yourself in a directory like, besta1websites.com or .ru/index.html. That's Nobody's heard of that. I wouldn't recommend against going out there and just listing yourself in all of those. But your merchant circles, your yellow books. In fact, I'm happy to share this. If I use for local directories, I use a gig on Fiverr. I know some people say don't use Fiverr gigs because people can get this wrong. But the gig that I use is fiverr.com/virtual, VIRTUAL, GIRL, so Virtual Girl 2010. She charges, well, first of all, I'll just explain a bit about her. She's got 7,000 5-star reviews. Okay? She's got a 5-star rating having sold 7,000 gigs. So if anyone's worried about maybe she's going to mess up my local directory listings, don't worry. You don't get a reputation like that for doing a bad job.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
She sells 120 US citations. So it lists you in the Yahoo Local, the Yellow Book, Yell, Hot Frog, Merchant Circle, etc.
Sure.
For $60.
Wow.
Now, that comes in miles cheaper than your White Spark and your Bright Locals and your Moz Locals. 120 for $60, and she'll have them done for you within a week. Okay? So, do I consider that? Yes, I do that for my clients. I do it for my own websites. One of my websites, SEO Lancashire, the website's leorose.org, but I rank that #1 in Google for SEO Lancashire. I live in Lancashire and I do SEO, so it makes sense that I'm #1. And I am #1 in both the Google local listings and in the organic listings. I ranked that website with her Fiverr gig, creating my social media and putting a few PBNs at it and stealing maybe 10 of my competitors' backlinks. Like, the work was done in a week.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
Yeah.
Job done. Let's move on. My wife has a nail salon called Pinky's Polished.
Yeah.
And we moved back from Spain last year. We was living in Spain, me, my wife, and 3 kids. And when we came back, she was like, I was doing nails in Spain. I'd like to do it for myself. I said, no worries. I'll buy you a salon. So we did, round the corner from where we live in Chorley. And she said, right, I've not got a website and it's not ranked. So we created a website and she started getting phone calls from SEO companies.
Wow.
It's going to take 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 10 years, whatever. It's going to cost some people were saying I'll do it for 50 quid a month. Other people were saying it was going to cost her 10 grand. Okay. We built the website and ranked it in 6 weeks.
Wow.
And she ranks for things like nail salon Chorley, beauty salon Chorley. Now, before everybody goes rushing out and looking at the AdWords keyword tool and says, hey, that's only 30 searches a month or 80 searches a month, you have to remember she is a nail salon and she's in Chorley, and it makes sense that even if it only got 1 search a month, she ranked #1 for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And those are like walk-in paying customers, So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here's the deal with it. The customers come back every 2 weeks. They nail. So one customer to her, and this is what's really funny. We built the site. To be fair, I wasn't even looking at rankings. It was 6 weeks. That's crazy fast.
Right.
But my wife was at home with me, and her business partner called and said, I don't know what's happened today, but the phone's been ringing a lot. So I went into the rank tracking software that we use, which is called SERPFox, and I was like, oh, wow, we've had some huge gains in keywords. 6 of their keywords were now ranking #1. And they was getting phone calls. So, we use directories for that. I know I just went off on a bit of a tangent there, but asking me whether I think directories work, yeah, for sure. I use them for my own website, my wife's website, clients' websites, everyone's websites.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Appreciate that, man. That's awesome stuff. And, hopefully anybody listening actually goes out and takes action on that, because that piece of advice was massively powerful. I couldn't agree more with respect to directories. I've seen them do a lot of powerful stuff for local search. So.
I think it comes down to this. People genuinely go to services like Yelp, Yellow Book, Merchant Circle. They've got their own traffic. Okay? So does the link come in directly from the site? Is that enough to rank you? Maybe, maybe not. But if people go to Yelp, they do a search, your business is listed there, they then click through to your website, you've now got referral traffic.
Right.
Somebody clicks Yellow Book, you've now got referral traffic. Your Facebook page is set up, so they click that, you've got more referral traffic.
Yeah.
If you were Google and you were thinking, we want to sort out the real businesses from the not real businesses, it makes sense that an easy way for them to do that would be for them to go, look at this website, it's out here, it's getting traffic from YouTube, people are watching videos and clicking through, it's coming from Facebook, it's coming from LinkedIn, it's coming from this guest blog post, and it's also got some great authority links, quote PBNs, pointing at it. That looks like an amazing site that's just got bundles of brand signals.
Right.
So I think to myself a lot, if I build this link directly to my website, and I want to exclude PBNs for a second, but if I build any link to my website, what is the chance of it actually sending a real referral traffic? If I create a Facebook page for my business and I say to everyone on that page, even though there's nobody there at the moment, but I say, hey, you can check out our website by clicking here. If somebody finds me on Facebook, whether it be a friend, a family member, I might even run some paid ads, whatever, somebody finds my business on Facebook. They click that link and they come through to my website. There's a real chance that that could actually happen. What is the chance of somebody finding a forum in Russia that's not de-indexed in Google, is not in my language, and thinking, oh, I need a nail salon in Chorley, I'm going to click that. Zero. Why is my link even there? It's a complete waste of time. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah.
Now I said I'm going to exclude PBNs for a minute because I love PBNs. Not any chance of driving real traffic, but they will send a whole lot of power to your websites. It's a great idea to have them.
Yeah. Yeah. I always explain SEO like an Easter egg basket. You know, you think of, backlinks and all these other different methods that we're talking about, like Easter eggs. You pick up a few at a time and you put them in the basket, and you just stay consistent with it every day in and day out until you get the result you want for whatever web page you're working on,
And that's a great point to make about consistency. Consistency and having a clear plan to follow.
Yeah.
Okay? Like I just said, my wife's website. We look at the on-page SEO, analyze the top 10, we build the site. Right, what's next? She hasn't got any social media. Let's go and create them. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Google+. Okay? What's next? Oh, she's not listed in any directories. Let's go and do that. What's next? Yeah, we need maybe to see what links her competitors have got. Okay, job done. What's next? She's still not ranked. Let's chuck 2 or 3 PBNs at it and see what happens. That's a clear, actionable plan to follow. So many people, because they don't have that clear plan, that's when they start doing weird things like, oh, maybe these forums, I see somebody post a gig on Fiverr, I'll build you 28 million backlinks on Delicious for $5. And you go, oh, wow, yeah, look, I'm going to click that and buy it. That stuff happens because there's no clear plan to follow.
Right.
People just, and why that's dangerous is I was coaching a guy once. He said, hey, I ran my website. I said, great. I said, why don't you duplicate it? He said, I haven't got a clue what I did. And that's why I'm speaking to you now. Can we reverse engineer my site and see what it took? He just literally, I said, how can you not know? Well, I bought probably 8 gigs from Fiverr. I bought some stuff from the Warrior Forum. Then some guy was posting on Facebook. Then I did something else. Then I went back in and changed, completely oblivious to what he had done. So, that's not a smart approach to SEO, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not tracking or measuring anything,
Exactly. There has to be that involved. Just so that you can duplicate. It's got to be scalable.
Yeah, that's right. So let's get into forums a little bit. This probably shouldn't take as long as directories, but what are forums good for nowadays?
Okay. It depends what type of forum. Okay. I do Magic Submitter tutorials. Okay. And to be fair, the Warrior Forum is probably the world's largest, or not even probably, it is the world's largest internet marketing forum. If I go in there, and this is a little tip that all of you could do with forums within your own niches, okay? I do this really well. I go into the Warrior Forum about once a week, maybe once every couple of weeks, and I use the search box, and I search for Magic Submitter. And any person that has said, I use Magic Submitter, or I'm thinking about Magic Submitter, or Magic Submitter rocks, I just click thanks. And my name on the forum is Magic Submitter Tutorials. So somebody says, hey, Magic Submitters rocks, it's absolutely great, I recommend you should buy it. And then right underneath it says, Magic Submitter Tutorials says thanks for this. Where do you think the person that was asking the questions clicking?
Right, on your name, right?
Exactly. They go to my profile, and then on my profile is a link which takes them to my website. Again, referral traffic. So, what do I think of forums? If you're selling dog treats, and there's a forum full of pet lovers, and they've got a sub-forum that's about dogs, you can go there and you can do a search and see if anybody's posting what's the best dog treat, and you could offer a little bit of advice and stick a link, and you might get some referral traffic. So not a bad idea to follow that approach, but it should be a good quality forum with active posters and have a chance of driving real traffic. Should you download a list of 1,000 non-related, low quality, and blast all of them? No, I don't think so. Not at all.
Yeah. Now, do you go on there also to do like damage control? Because I know there's guys on there that they smash different things, and they talk bad about different stuff. And I don't know if your tool's one of them. I doubt it would be, but you always got some haters out there, right? And so
I live by the old saying of haters gonna hate. Okay, and I believe
right? Yeah.
Exactly any press is good press.
There you
okay,
go. Right.
In my opinion, even if somebody's saying something bad, okay, I think for the largest part now, people are fine-tuned to, if I read a review and somebody says to me, I don't know, XYZ product's absolutely garbage, I'm going to go and check out XYZ products because I want to see, not necessarily buy it, but I'm going to be like, who's behind this and who owns it? And I'm going to click through and take a look. Now, if the sales page or the blog does a good enough job at convincing them otherwise, maybe with testimonials, reviews, social proof, then that review could almost become worthless. So I really don't worry about it too much. Again, I used to spend a lot of time arguing with people that wanted to write bad reviews, but let them now. For every bad review, just make sure you go and get 3 good ones. Ask your subscribers if you have to.
Yeah.
Somebody's just left this bad review for me. You guys know it's not true. Would you go and flame them for me and call them an idiot?
Now, links from forums, they don't really count for much anymore. Is that a true statement or no?
It depends.
Okay.
Do they drive real traffic? If yes, they count for a lot. Okay?
No, I don't mean from a referral traffic standpoint. I mean from just a backlinking standpoint in terms of ranking.
You see, it's a difficult one because I wouldn't build them unless it had a chance of driving real traffic. And then, because it's driving traffic, it's going to help the rankings. So that's a difficult one for me to answer. I would have to say, yes, it will help with rankings because it will drive traffic.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, yes.
So indirectly, sort of.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha. So let's get into backlinks a little bit, if that's okay. I mean, backlinks could be a whole interview in and of itself, so I don't want to get lost with it. But is that cool if we talk a little bit about backlinking?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so you mentioned that you do buy backlinks, but not a lot. So you do recommend buying backlinks, but only for what, the experienced SEO guy, or what's your advice on that?
Well, it really depends where it is. Let's say, for example, I'm just going to take the example of I'm trying to rank for real estate Chicago. If I go and that could be for myself or it could be for a client, it could be for anything. if I go and look at the top 10 competitors and 9 of the top 10 are listed on the Better Business Bureau, you have to pay to be listed in that directory. It's just a paid directory. So would I pay? Well, if 9 of the top 10 have got it and it's huge authority, then I'm kind of like forced to, in a way. I can try and beat it out with just pure PBNs, or I could just think, well, you know, the old saying of if you can't beat them, join them. At least if I match that paid link, it's going to make the rest of my link building efforts much easier.
Yeah.
Okay. Would I go and subscribe to a service like Angie's List? Not Angie's List. Angela's, what is it? Paul and Angela? Angela and Paul? I don't know if you remember that from a few years ago.
I don't.
Huge back. Would I go and sign up to SAPE? No, I wouldn't personally. You know, that type of paid back link.
Yeah.
A client, a coaching student of mine just recently bought some PBNs from me because I offer a done-for-you PBN service, but he bought some from me and he was happy with them, but he decided he wanted something a little bit cheaper. So he went off and subscribed to one of these blog networks.
Yeah.
He lost his rankings.
Oh, no.
He come back to me and he said, hey, I don't know what's happened. I said, give me the links they built. He said, oh, no, they won't give me all because they said they want to protect their network. I said, well, did they send you anything? Yeah, they sent me a screenshot of 10 of the 30 they built. I said, let's go and check them out. We went and checked them out. They had low metrics. They had like 1,000 posts on each one, none related to the other. There was really poor spam content. I was like, no wonder they don't want to give you these links. Half of them were de-indexed.
Yeah.
You know, you might cut corners and think that you're doing yourself a favor, but in the long run, you're doing some serious damage to your website. What's the point?
Yeah, I've never understood why, people that have PBNs, maybe you could clear this up for me. The people that have PBNs that are selling links on their PBNs, why they would say, well, we're not willing to be 100% transparent with you because we want to protect our network. Well, you're the only one that can put links on your network anyway, so I don't understand why you wouldn't be fully transparent.
Because there's the conspiracy theory that Google's employees sign up to every single Fiverr gig, every single every single forum. You know, there's 500 of them hanging out on the Warrior forum right now, so you better not post your website. You know, you get these guys that genuinely think like that, and to some degree, it might be true. You know, it wouldn't be a bad idea for Google to say we should hang out on the Warrior forum from time to time, or the Black Hat World forum, just to see what people are discovering.
Right.
But I don't think it's as huge a problem as some people believe.
Yeah. I don't
so look, unfortunately, because of that, it means that you can get not good SEO providers chucking rubbish out there and playing that card. Hey, you could be Google, so I'm not going to show you what I'm doing.
Right.
But that's alarm bells for me. If you're not prepared to show me, I'm not prepared to give you any money.
That's right. I'm the same way. I always say full transparency, full disclosure, or you can find a different customer. You know, so
exactly. Now here's the deal. There's a blog that I used to use a few years ago called buyfromnoone.com.
Yeah.
It was an old PageRank 5 blog. It was in the finance niche. I bought a couple of links from them for my old website, Madison Financial, and we got a homepage link. Our PageRank, like at the next update, went up to like a free, and we were ranked position number 7 for debt help. Now we didn't just buy from that one blog. We probably bought from, I don't know, 5 or 10. It was costing like $60 or £60 a month.
Yeah.
But times that by 10, £600 a month. The amount of money we was making from ranking for that keyword, it made sense.
Yeah.
But that was a highly specific, niche, relevant, good quality site. Okay? Would I just go out there and just buy rubbish Fiverr gigs and buy links like that? And, you know, you see this guy that says, I'll give you 12 links on my PageRank 9 websites. What? Yeah, if you had a PageRank 9 website, you're not selling links on Fiverr.
That's right.
So, you know, it's just about being a little bit smart with it. Would I do it? Yes. Would I make it my only strategy? No. Could I get away with a couple if I thought they were really going to be beneficial when mixed with PBNs and social and for a couple of forum links? Yeah, why not?
Right. Yeah, I always, I've always run on the philosophy that, anytime you chase something that appears to be super cheap, super easy, or just free, you just end up getting trash for it. And then, the money that you would spend, even though it's pennies, like in a lot of cases, there's a lot of Fiverr gigs that are just terrible. You end up spending more money in the long run anyway because the stuff never works out. So it's like setting money to that fire, or setting fire to that money, and then you got to go do the right thing anyway. So
exactly. Like here's the deal. This is a different guy now. I was speaking to him last night, and he's been coaching with me for a little while. He bought 2 PBNs off me. I charged him $150 a PBN. Now, I put 100% fresh content on them, and I do everything else, and they're hosted on unique IPs. And, my profit in that is not a lot. By the time I bought it, registered it, hosted it, done everything else, yeah? But he thought, there's a gig on Fiverr here. The guy says that he will find me a domain name for $5. So he bought 3 of them, and he went and registered them himself. And he came back to me very chuffed. He said, hey, it cost me $15 for these domains from that guy, $10 each to register them. I wrote the content myself, 25 articles. If I had bought them from you, it would cost me like $750. But look, wow, I got all of this for less than $200. I said, right, let's take a look at them. And I did a side-by-side comparison. Here's what you got from me, Ahrefs metrics, Moz metrics, Majestics metrics. Here's what you got from the other guy. He was like, oh, dude, should I just delete them right now? Like, bad anchor text profiles, porn links.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
And unfortunately for him, he kind of looked at what I did but didn't 100% understand it. And then, so he's kind of like the blind, and this other person is only charging $5. So their attitude is, yeah, what do you want? It's $5.
Yeah. When people go that route, I just say, you can go do that, but just get ready to spend a lot of time using the disavow tool.
Exactly. Well, this is what's really interesting. That same guy has now said to me, hey, can I book you in for some coaching so that we can go through and clean up this problem?
Yeah.
And then he's going to also say, hey, now I've realized that those were rubbish. Can I have some more? So now he's out of pocket on coaching. He's out of pocket on these PBNs he's bought from this other person. Ultimately, now I don't want to say that all service providers bar me are bad, because that's not That's not true. There's plenty of good service providers out there, but you need to know what you're looking for before you go and start doing stuff like that. You're going to land yourself in a whole lot of trouble. And that's why it's great having somebody like a coach or a mentor like yourself, like me, like anybody else out there.
Yeah.
Somebody that can just guide you a little bit and let you know at least the basics before you start doing damage to your website.
Yeah. That's solid advice. So before we end here, I have one more question for you. So if you could, I'd like to ask you a little bit about software. Obviously, you're the founder of Magic Submitter, you and Alex, and you guys run that software. I'm a big pro advocate of that software. Could you explain to the listeners just a little bit with respect to what it does, what it'll do for them?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is how I used to explain what Magic Submitter is, just for those that really have no clue at all. Anybody could go right now to a site like WordPress.com, and they could go and sign up, put in their name, address, telephone number, email address, and then once they've done that, they would click register. Then they'd have to log into their email, confirm their email. Then they'd go back to the site and post an article with a link. Okay. Now, Alex decided a few years back, well, this is stuff that is repetitive. Okay. I've done it on WordPress. Now I need to do it on Tumblr. Then I need to do it on LinkedIn. So he created Magic Submitter that basically will go out to any one of those sites and it will register for you automatically. Then it will verify the email address. Then it will post. So it's a great tool for building backlinks for you. You set it up once and you can say, hey, build me links over the next 30 days. And then it'll build you a couple of hundred links or a couple of thousand links, depending on the type of campaign you want to run. So it is a great piece of software to use. But just like anything else, you need to know what you're doing. So the good news is I personally have done all of the training videos for Magic Submitter. And if you ever bought it, you would go into the training area in Magic and watch all those videos. So I teach best practices. But here's where I think Magic Submitter really comes into its own. I've already spoken to you about Yelp, Yellow Book. We've spoken about creating forums or posts on forums where you can drive real traffic. So here's what I do. Let's say I've got a listing on Yelp. I already told you that if people find it from Yelp and they click through to your website, you've got referral traffic. Here's what you can do. You could take your Yelp URL, put it into a backlinking tool like Magic Submitter, build links to it, and rank that Yelp listing in Google when somebody searches for your keyword. So then number 1's your website, number 2's Yelp, number 3, you could build links to a YouTube video, your Facebook page. You could build links to anything that's got a URL. And then what you potentially do is you end up with page 1 domination. Okay. Yeah. So somebody searches Magic Submitter tutorials. They find my website in number 1, my Facebook in number 2, my YouTube in number 3, etc. Okay. And now here's what's really interesting and why I really, really like this as an idea. And this is just going to get a bit technical with stats now. The number 1 listing in Google, according to Moz, in 2014, got 31% of the search traffic click the number 1 listing. Okay, so if something was searched 1,000 times and you rank number 1, your listing would get about 310 visitors.
Was it 30 or 60?
The number 1 was 31.24%.
Okay.
Okay, and if you go to Google and you type in Moz organic click-through rates, you'll get the actual stats. And I'm going to do that right now. I know you can't see this, but Moz click-through rates. Just bear with me.
Sure.
Okay, so it was a study done in 2014, and in fact, it's a study that's been done over the last 8 years, and it says if you rank number 1 in 2014 in Google, 31.24% of people click that listing. Number 2 is 14%. Number 3 is 9.85%. So let's say 10%. Okay, so if we was to total up the top 3, we're at 60%. Okay, but and that makes sense. Like, you know, number 4's then 7%, number 5's 5%.
Yeah.
So we're already at 67 point something percent.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but this is interesting because between positions number 2 and 3, if you could take those, or 2, 3, and 4. That's going to give you the same amount of traffic as being number 1. So, like, literally, just put in something number 2, number 3, number 4, you're going to double the amount of brand traffic. Because somebody will come to your Yelp listing. If they're on your Yelp page, 2 things are going to happen. They're either calling the number there, or they're clicking through to your website. If they find your Facebook page, they'll click like. Then they'll call your number, or they'll visit your website. If it's a YouTube video, they might watch, they might subscribe. Now you're getting all this brand traffic and referral signals. So, you know, this for me is huge. And I want to say this. One coaching student of mine was a guy called Bob Bees. And I also want to say, if I mention any names, it's only because I've got their written testimonials anyway.
Okay.
I'm not name dropping for the sake of it. Okay.
Sure.
These people have said, feel free. Now, Bob Bees ranks number 1 for furnace repair, Edmonton, which gets 1,300 searches a month. And I coached him on that. He's not a furnace repair guy. That was lead generation. And that website made him 40,000 Canadian dollars last year.
Huh.
And he's just about to do the same this year. Okay. Wow. He sells leads at $50 a lead. Now, he wasn't ranked until he ranked his Yelp listing. We chucked Magic Submitter at his Yelp. That went to number 1. We can only assume as a result of that, through looking at Google Analytics, that all of a sudden he started getting a large influx of referral traffic from Yelp. And then literally within a couple of days, his website was in the #1 position.
Wow, that's powerful.
Because in my opinion, it's kind of like this. If Google's a usability-based search engine, and Google sees loads and loads of people clicking Yelp, but every time they click Yelp, Google sees they're leaving Yelp to your website, it makes sense that the algorithm will put your website there as the final destination.
Right.
Okay? And literally, this is things that we've been split testing. Now, would I be manually building links to Yelp and manually building PBNs and manually building forums and then doing the same thing for Facebook and doing the same thing for YouTube videos? Yeah, of course I could. But that's going to be hugely not time efficient. It's going to be time consuming. Yeah. Every once in a while, I forget my words. It's going to be a huge time zap. Hugely time consuming. So that's where Magic Submitter can come in. Because Yelp is such what would be considered to be a great authority domain, YouTube, great authority domain, Facebook, great authority domain, I don't have to worry as much about the quality of the links.
Yeah.
I still shouldn't be stupid. I still shouldn't go out and build 500,000 PageRank 0 forums on Russian websites, for example. But that's where I can pull Magic Submitter out and say, you know what? I'm just going to fire a few campaigns at my Yelp listing and get it to rank on the first page. I'm going to fire a few campaigns at my Facebook page, get that to rank.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what I'm using it for, and it's working incredibly well.
Yeah.
And also it works really well for just making sure that your backlinks are indexed.
Right.
You know, building a link is only half the battle. Google actually needs to find it.
That's right.
You chuck a small Magic Submitter campaign at that, Google's going to find it a damn sight quicker than it would do if you didn't build any links to it.
Right. So one last question with respect to the software, since I'm sure people are curious about it now if they hadn't heard about it before. Video marketing. So there's a lot of software out there with respect to video marketing, Traffic Geyser, HydroVid, TubeMogul, which I think is now called OneView or something like that. Does Magic Submitter do what those can do, or would they need to be used separate from it?
They would need to be used separate. Basically, Traffic Geyser, what that does is that take your video and then it will syndicate it across a load of other video sites.
Yeah.
If I remember rightly.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, here's what I do. I build a link. I build a YouTube video. I upload it straight to YouTube. Then I take the video URL and I build a Magic Submitter campaign to it. So I'm not syndicating that everywhere. I'm trying to rank it in Google as a result of it having a lot of backlinks and good on-page SEO for the video.
Yeah, I think that's a better route anyway because, Google's where everybody goes for search anyway. So
let me ask you. Yeah. Let me ask you this question as well. And we're doing a podcast now, but do you ever do webinars?
Yes.
I'd be more than happy to come on to do a webinar with you.
Yeah.
Where I can go through and literally do a video marketing from start to finish.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
I'll create a video live on air. I'll upload it to YouTube, explain how to do that, and how to find the keywords. I always go for zero competition keywords. And then I'll take that. And I don't know whether you wanted to do it as one series that would probably take 2.5, 3 hours or split it in half. But then we could maybe do a live demo of Magic Submitter campaign from start to finish.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. You know what else be fun if we wanted to do it is rank that webinar video in YouTube.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
We could find a good keyword phrase to title the webinar video, upload it to YouTube, and then rank that thing.
That sounds very cool, man. I'd be happy to work with you on that.
Well, let's set it up. Yeah, we'll chat after the show here, and so yeah, that was all I had, man. I know we ran a little long, and yeah, it was a lot of fun though, and I'm sure everybody got a ton of value out of it. For anyone that's listening, where can they go to find out more about you and more about? I mean, the software obviously will be an affiliate link on my site and everything, but to connect with you personally, where can they go?
Well, this is really easy. My name's James Upjohn. James. There's no weird variations of that. And Upjohn is Upjohn. Okay? And my website is jamesupjohn.com.
Oh, there you go. I'll include that in the show notes. And what about Facebook?
Facebook is facebook.com/coach, period. I think you call it a period, dot. It's a period, isn't it? The
Yep.
point.
It's coach.
James Upjohn.
Yeah, coach.jamesupjohn is your Facebook.
And my Skype is just coach.jamesupjohn. So it's just, that's it right across the board.
Perfect. Super.
I'm happy to connect with people on Skype or Facebook or via my website.
Yeah, perfect. Well, hey, James, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. It's been an absolute blast. I hope you decide you want to come on again in the future down the road when we do a full circle and start having people repeat.
Yeah, 100%, buddy, for sure.
All right, man.
I'd love to do that.
Fantastic. Well, we'll talk to you later.
Nice one. Cheers, Jason.
And that concludes episode 59 of Unleashing the Alpha Networker. For a copy of the show notes, make sure you visit jasonleehq.com/TAN059. And if you haven't, make sure you head over to iTunes, leave us a review, and we'll greatly appreciate it for you. Other than that, Alpha Nation, we will see you on the next episode. Take care.